Hey y'all, it's always so good to see you here on Grassroots Gardening. I'm Ryan, and I don't know about you guys, but I need a little plant therapy this week. It's been a hell of a week. To add insult to injury, I come out to shoot this video for you guys, and of course today is the day that the helicopter is pruning the power lines. So he's been out here for 30 minutes. About time, helicopter dude. Right across the street, so I couldn't hear myself think, much less talk to you guys. So we've got to race a helicopter. He's got to go fuel up, and I know that because he's landing right beside Grassroots Nursery to do his fueling. So I've had to hear him there all week too. So anyway, we got a few minutes to do a little planting, and today we're planting one of the best smelling shrubs ever. So it's Daphne odora, or winter blooming Daphne, and this thing just smells heavenly. So I had it in my truck yesterday, and the truck just smells amazing. I almost didn't want to take this shrub out of my truck, but we've been trying to find these shrubs for a little while. They're kind of hard to find, and I'll be honest, they are not the easiest of shrubs to grow, but the payoff is the fragrance that comes from these things is just, I mean, absolutely amazing. To me, it smells like sticking your nose down in a box of Fruity Pebbles. It's just tropical, just beautiful. Smells like a pretty lady. I just absolutely love them. I've been wanting one myself for a while. Some that I had previously, we had to remove a tree, and we had to unfortunately get rid of them as well. But we've got these at the nursery now, so if you want one, you better come get them. They are not going to last long. They're fixing to just bust wide open, and when folks smell this plant, they sell, I mean, just like hotcakes. So let me show you guys the Daphne odora, and let's hurry up and get it planted before the helicopter comes back. So here she is. This is our winter blooming Daphne, and you can see the flowers aren't incredibly showy. They're kind of small and kind of pinkish, sometimes purplish on the outside of the inflorescence before it opens up. But I'm telling you, if you guys could smell this thing right now, oh my goodness. So we definitely want to always try to plant this somewhere where people can enjoy it. So I'm going to plant it right here in this corner because they do like shade and they do not like wet feet. So I think this sandy corner will be a good spot to put her, and that way when she blooms, which right now we're early January, so month of January, sometimes as late as February they'll bloom. Everybody that sits on the porch can enjoy this just phenomenal fragrance. I've got a few ingredients here. As I stated, they do not like wet feet. You will for surely kill them if you plant them in a wet spot. So we're going to use some of our Spoma land and seed compost because it's nice and chunky to help allow for drainage. And if you watched any of my videos, you know we're not planting anything without our Biotone starter fertilizer. And then right here, I've got some of our sand that we actually process ourselves at one of our sand mines, mixed in with some of our good stuff compost, and then there's a little bit of Osmocote fertilizer in there as well. So I better get busy digging this hole and getting this girl planted before our friend comes back. Okay, so like I said, we're underneath this this pear tree. That'll give us our shade for the plant, as well as the porch will help shade it in some of that hot afternoon sun. So I think we're just going to pretty much go right in the corner with this Daphne. We've got some pretty sandy soil here, so that should definitely help in the drainage. I'm just going to kick back some of the leaves and mulch here so we can get down to our native sandy soil. We want to make sure that our hole is nice and excavated nice and wide so that when we put our soil amendments back in, those roots can easily spread and find their way out into the native soil and get established quicker than later. Sooner than later, I should say. Okay, so I've added a little bit of our land and sea, nice chunky compost to the bottom of our hole, probably about 4 inches. And then you just saw me put a little bit of the biotone plant starter on top of that. And so what we want to do, like with some of the other plantings that you've seen me do, we want to try to elevate this root ball up a little bit, because we certainly do not want these roots down in constantly moist soil. So usually in shady spots like this, they tend to stay a little wetter, and that's okay. But this plant, if we were just to sink it right in the ground and plant her deep, that could be fatal for it, because it doesn't like that constant damp, wet soil. So we're going to put this base layer down. We're going to put her in the hole, add our native soil, 50%, and then 50% of our spoma compost. Blend that together, even in the addition of some of our sand and our compost here, and that'll give us great drainage, and this plant should do just fine in this spot. Kind of in a tight little crowded corner here. I'm just going to give her a couple taps on the outside of the pot, and that'll be probably about the right depth. We've got probably 2 to 3 inches of the root ball above the soil line out here, so that'll again ensure that we get really good drainage and she's not too deep. So here's our native soil line, and if I would just come straight off, you can see that the top of that root ball is going to be above the existing soil line. And I'm going to take a cup of our biotone, and you can see those roots down there. I'm just going to go ahead and cover this whole root ball with our biotone and go ahead and put these nutrients and bacteria in contact with the actual roots themselves. Then the remainder of the biotone, I'm going to go ahead and just mix in with our sand and compost right here, and that way it'll kind of get spread evenly as we continue to plant her. Okay, now as we begin to backfill, we'll take a little bit of our sand, mix it with our compost, grab a little bit of our native soil. We're just going to kind of homogenize all those ingredients together, and that's what we'll use to backfill around our Daphne. And we don't want to compact it too much. We obviously don't want the shrub to fall over, but this root system needs to breathe, and so we don't want to pack too hard around the root ball with our backfill. So now I will come down here and just gently press around the root ball, make sure she's nice and level, and just bring this material up to the top of the root ball, and again just nice and gently press it in, and it's as simple as that, y'all. And there we have our winter blooming Daphne tucked nicely in this little corner. You can kind of see how I just tapered the soil up to the root ball, and she should do just fine there and give us a lot of years of just absolutely amazing fragrance during the winter. This is an evergreen, I should add, so you're going to keep your leaves all year long. And there are other varieties too, such as Aero marginata, that are variegated and will have a nice margin, a variegated margin around the leaf. But this one's just your standard Daphne odora. Probably going to get, I don't know, 4 foot tall, maybe 4 wide. So it should do a great job of just filling up this whole corner here. And I can't wait for her to get big, because the bigger she gets, the more flowers she's going to have, the more fragrance she's going to put out. But great evergreen shrub for our area here, which we're in zone 8A. I have to put on the screen the actual zones it's good for. Probably, I don't know, I'm going to say 6 to 9, just a guess. But they do great around here in our area if you can find them. We've got them at the nursery now, so if you want one, you better come get them. Well, guess what, guys? It looks like we did it. We beat the helicopter dude. We got our Daphne odora in the ground, so now she can just go to smelling up this whole back porch area. This is my favorite smelling shrub. Tea olives, probably number 2, but nothing compares to this Daphne. I mean, if y'all, even if you don't buy one, you need to come to the nursery just to sniff it, and sniffs are free. So we're giving out free smells of Daphne while supplies last. Hey, appreciate you guys watching and learning with me. Always remember, the more you know, the more you grow. See y'all on the next video. Bye, y'all.